Frederick Buechner said this in 2006. I say it to you now. And there were in the same country shepherds keeping watch over their flocks by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them. The glory of the Lord shone round about them, and they were sore afraid. So says Luke. Matthew says something else entirely. Mark and John say nothing at all. It was so long ago. And who knows what the facts of Jesus' birth actually were? As for myself, the longer I live, the more inclined I am to believe in miracle. And the more I suspect that if we had been there at the birth, we might have seen and heard things that would be hard to reconcile with modern science. But that's not the point, because the gospel writers were not really interested primarily in the facts of the birth, but in the significance, in the meaning for them of that birth, just as the people who love us are not really interested primarily in the facts of our births, but in what it meant to them when we were born, and how for them the world was never the same again. So whether there were 10 million angels there, or just the woman herself and her husband when that child was born, the whole course of history was changed. Ever since the child was born, there have been people who have gotten drunk on him, no less than they can get drunk on hard liquor. Or, if that metaphor seems too crude, all the way down the centuries since that child was born, there have been countless different kinds of people who in countless different kinds of ways have been filled with his spirit, grasped by him, caught up into his life, who have found themselves in deep and profound ways healed and transformed by their relationship with him. So much so that they simply have no choice but to proclaim what the writers of the gospel first proclaimed, that he was indeed the long-expected one, the Christ, wonderful Counselor, mighty God, everlasting Father, Prince of Peace, all these curious and forbidding terms that Christians keep on using in their attempt to express in language one thing and one thing only, that in this child, in the man he grew up to be, there is the power of God to bring light into our darkness, the power to make us whole, the power to give us a new kind of life. Anybody who turns toward him in faith can have that new kind of life, even such as you and me. And that's what Matthew and Luke are trying to say in their stories about how he was born. And that's the truth that no language seemed too miraculous to them to convey. And that's the only truth that matters. The wise men, the shepherds, and the star, they're imported only as ways of pointing to that truth. So what is left to us? Just the greatest question of them all. How do we know whether or not this truth is true? How do we find out for ourselves whether in this child born so long ago, there really is the power to give us a new kind of life, a life in which both suffering and joy are immeasurably deepened, a new kind of life in which little by little we began to be able to love even our friends, at moments maybe even our enemies, maybe at last even ourselves. Adeste Fideles. That's the only answer I know for people who want to find out whether or not this is true. Come, all ye faithful, and come all ye who would like to be faithful, if only you could, and come all we who walk in darkness and hunger for light. Have faith enough, hope enough, despair enough, have foolishness enough to at least draw near to see. He says to ask and it will be given you, to seek and you will find, In other words, he says that if you pray for him, he will come to you. And as far as I know, there's only one way to find out whether that is true, and that is to try it. Pray for him. See if he comes in ways that only you will recognize. He says to follow him, to walk as he did into the world's darkness. He says to throw yourself away as he threw himself away for love of the dark world. And he says that if you follow him, you will end up on some kind of cross, but that beyond your cross, and even on your cross, you will also find your heart's desire, the peace that passes all understanding. And again, as far as I know, there's only one way to find out whether that is true, and that is to try it. Follow him and see. And if the going gets too tough, you can always back out. Maybe you can always back out. Adeste Fideles. Come and behold him, born the King of Angels. Speak to him or be silent before him in whatever way seems right to you, and at whatever time. Come to him. Come with your empty hands. The great promise is that to come to him who was born at Bethlehem is to find coming to birth within ourselves something stronger, something braver, something gladder, something kinder, something holier than ever we knew before, or than ever we could have known without him. Merry Christmas.